Surendra Badel is a rescue pilot. He makes a living from other people who are in trouble, climbers who have misjudged the dangers of the Himalayas. Surendra and his colleagues are the first crew in Nepal who can retrieve injured people with a rescue line, known as the long line, a skill which they learnt from the Swiss.
In 2012, probably in August, I was there for long line training and mountain flights. There is much more, systematic in Switzerland, and we are picking up. We are trying to get in the Swiss format of doing rescues.
I'm going for further training, for advanced training. That I've not been doing the long line rescue here in Nepal. So after I go training in Switzerland, I will come here and do long line rescue.
During the peak season for mountain climbing, Surendra and his team take off on rescue operations 5 or 6 times a day. They reach altitudes of up to 5,500 meters. Today, the men are going on a training flight to practice search and rescue. After 30 minutes in the air, Surendra discovers the man they need to rescue. But he can't land the Eurocopter here. The ground is too steep. 3 kilometers away, they manage to land. The rescue rope is fastened to the helicopter and used to lower one of the mountain rescuers down to the casualty.
You have a good chance to rescue him?
Yep, only my concern is about the weather. You can see now, the moving is, the fog is moving so faster. So before that, we need to grab him up from there.
But in reality, assistance usually arrives too late. The region of Mount Everest is the highest adventure playground in the world, 8,848 meters high. To date, more than 4,000 thrill-seekers have managed to climb the highest mountain in the world. Climbing Everest costs about 50,000 euros. This goes to Nepal's government and the organizers for the climb, even if you don't reach the summit. The last disaster happened on April 18, 2014 at Khumbu Icefall. Sherpas wanted to build a bridge over the deep ice crevasses for the climbers, just as an avalanche was triggered. 16 Sherpas lost their lives. The accident sent shockwaves through Nepal. The many tragedies that occur on Mount Everest are witnessed firsthand by the communities in the valley of Kathmandu. A lot of Sherpa families live here, including Ang Pazi with her son. Her husband was a Sherpa who led foreigners up to the summit. The avalanche on April 18th claimed his life. His widow and son found refuge in a small room at her brother's house.
The death of my husband changed my whole life. I just need to see how my baby and I can get through it. My best option is to emigrate.
The young widow received the equivalent of 9,000 euros in compensation, almost 2 years' wages from the Nepalese government. Mount Everest, a blessing and a curse. More than 9,000 Sherpas and their families make their living as porters and guides. Since the summit was first reached in 1953, they have been helping the mountain climbers find their way, as well as carrying equipment, food and oxygen cylinders. They are well paid for this job, but they're poorly insured. In Kathmandu, we meet the Sherpa Pambu Ongshu, one of the most experienced mountain climbers in Nepal. He survived the catastrophe on April 18th, but one of his friends lost his life. He and his friend's widow commemorate the victims in the large Sherpa temple.
After the catastrophe, we couldn't just keep on climbing. We brought the bodies to the families and then we went on strike. It was the first time the Sherpas had gone on strike. We demanded higher life insurance and a professional mountain rescue service.
That's exactly why Surendra's team are training today. They want to be as efficient as their colleagues in Switzerland. One of them is being lowered down to the casualty on the rescue rope. On the ground, the man is tied securely to a rescue net. With the rescuer safely fastened to the rope, the pilot flies into the valley, a distance of 10 kilometers at an altitude of 200 meters until they reach a hospital. All too often, Surendra and his men are called out too late because payment hasn't been clarified. Travel agencies and insurance companies in Nepal prefer to avoid the expenses for rescue flights. Surendra Badal wants to change that. Along with other experts, he wants to establish a mountain rescue service in Nepal, based on the Swiss model. After a 10-hour working day, the pilot returns to his wife and daughter in their little house on the edge of town.
Yes, I'm so proud of him. When he rescued someone's lives, I feel very proud.
Yeah.
When
The
he returned
mountain's
back
high.
safely, then that's the most happiest moment for me.
The rescue pilots like to pray to the gods every time they return home unharmed. And of course, they pray for the victims.